any idea what it might be?
No, but it looks like they're lining us up to be knighted already. I thought we were here to be tested. I'm confused.
In that case, our final test is most likely getting slapped.
I beg your pardon?
The last strike we'll receive that goes unanswered.
I see.
They have strayed away from Christ's wisdom, that we are to be unified, like his 12 apostles. Instead, they are proven to be Judas among us.
The Duke of Cornwall's duplicitous actions in not supporting King Uther in any of his actions so far.
Quite so.
I simply told him that even among Christ's apostles there was a Judas.
You think Gorlois is on Judas level betrayers?
Judas did not directly kill Christ, but was involved in his downfall. I think it is possible.
Do you want to die?
No. No, I don't. Is that up to me?
If you said yes, I would have removed your head.
Well, then I'm glad I didn't.
You have time still to serve your honor, but first, you will be used. I will have returned to me one of mine that you keep, and you will go back to your family in shame.
Yes. Yes, I suppose I will. This can be arranged.
Many felt Uther was unworthy of this land. They say the sword belongs to the land, and yet it now resides in the hands of Uther. If Uther is to draw it before his subjects, what position might they have to resist the claim that he is not worthy if the land itself says he is?
You think a symbol like that can really hold so much weight? I mean, I wasn't a knight in most recent years, but even as a squire, I could see how conflicted the courts felt about every part of Uther's wars. Do you really think it'll carry that much weight?
Behold, the sword of victory, forged when the world was young.
It's beautiful. What's it for? How does this save Britain?
You'll see. We all will see. It will come. Perhaps soon. Or perhaps not.
I mean, it's no secret that he hasn't exactly been forthwith with Uther's summoning. As well, it's basically an open secret that he didn't vote for the High King.
If that's the case, why hasn't Uther made any moves?
When Salisbury Knights hear stories from Uther's men slandering the Knights of Arms of Tintagel, ask them where are the Irish. Someone has to stay here and fight them. I love my people. I have a loyalty to them, and so I stay here and I fight, because without that, the land would be covered with Irish. Consider then, where is Uther? He is in Salisbury, I hear, and lands further east. Where is he not? Cornwall. Loyalty, Sir Florence, goes both ways. Yes, one does owe a liege great service, but I believe he will find that your knightly oath offers duty towards you and the acceptance of counsel. You have poked your head into affairs where loyalty has only flowed one way. But these are dark and dangerous words, and I can tell that you are uncomfortable. I hope that you will return in great courtesy back to your seat and continue your flirting with women who are not my wife.
Why isn't Uther sending more troops out here?
Uther is set on removing the Saxons. They've done his kingdom a personal harm. When Vortigern usurped the throne, Aurelius and Uther were spirited away by night to Brittany, as were, in a way, many of the refugees that landed in Brittany, fleeing Vortigern's awful attempts as he allied with the Saxons against our very people. I think that Uther will not pay mind to any other enemy until the Saxons are dealt with swiftly and directly. And in that mind, I do not think him a fool. It is true that the Irish remain a threat, as do the Picts to some degree to the north. But it's the Saxons that threaten us day in and day out.
I do not believe God has chosen wrong in allowing Uther to take the throne.
Hail, Uther, future High King!
Hail, Uther.
If I may ask, why have you run into trouble so far meeting with the lords of the land?
They have their own troubles, these Saxon scum and such, but I have been seeking the men who might assist me in reclaiming proper Roman lands from the vile and treacherous Franks. You have heard of Clodovecus, yes? Merovingian warlord?
The name is not familiar, but my cousin spent time overseas campaigning.
You may tell your king, King Uther, that I will visit him as soon as I have leisure time.
I see. Edric says, fully understanding that the north is quite under attack by Saxons as well. We shall let him know. In the meantime, I thank you and your household for your hospitality.
I feel like we're doing something. We're actually protecting our land, our island from all of these invaders. Sir Periner, I don't think there's any more for now. We should move.
I can still fight. My sword. I left my sword. I have to get my sword.
So do you think Frankland is the target then for the king? Suppose that depends on how much the Praetor will be paying. But it wouldn't surprise me if the young prince is leading an invasion by next year.
Great allies in the battle to come. We shall free all of the lands of Rome from the Frank and restore honor and virtue.
You have my thanks, and indeed, your advice will do wonders when we finally get into battle with...
Rome has long had a tradition of not only fighting with our brawn, weapons, tactical skill, but our minds and strategy as well. And perhaps you will pick up a thing or two about the Roman way of combat that will serve you in the years to come, given your injuries.
I might quite like that. Thank you.
Of course. Well, I shall leave you both, all of you, to it, and I hope to meet you all again soon. Feel better, Sir Florence.
Thank you, Praetor.
Aye. And when the day comes, I'll gladly lay my life down. And just as many others have before me. But I can't help but wonder. Our grandchildren might not even see what this battle leads to. The glory it raises, and what's lost. Don't get me wrong, Syagrius, I have no doubts about what we're doing. But I think it's worthy to consider as well. There is a great deal of loss of life here, and I think that holds a great weight, even in victory.
Of course, but you must understand that the lives that are lost here, those that have given their life for this battle, do so for more than just glory, do so for more than just winning a battle. On this, Rome hinges. Entire civilization. It's existed for centuries, in which Christ has been born. Rome is more than just a city. It is a belief. It is a passion. It is a people. It is a culture. What we fight for here is not personal fiefdoms, castles, or manor houses. We fight for honor, legacy, tradition. Fight for Rome, eternity, Christ. Come, we must find Manor. We must not let the enemy regroup.
You really do believe that, don't you? I find comfort in your words, Syagrius. I'll ride with you.
But battle still yet awaits us, sire. The Franks are regrouping at Rouen. We should march on them. Let us meet them and destroy them, as your father swore. And then we will have more
We will
glory.
not. We have enemies at our borders, and traitors in our west. We depart with the next tide.
What do you mean? Your father swore. The battle. We've won one battle, but
I
there's
am
more.
not my father.
How? But we are on the verge of. Very well. Then victory to the honorable, he says, drawing his sword to those. We go, those who are with me. We leave poison behind us. Turns around towards Edric and Perrin.
Oh boy.
Good knights, will you join me on this noble battle? We still have much to do.
Forgive me, but my duty lies elsewhere. Perhaps the king would change his mind and send us out again. But for now, I cannot stay.
He made promises. It is his son. But I understand duty, and I have a duty to the Emperor and to Rome itself. I shall triumph with God's grace, with or without those who are willing to fight by our side.
For what it
Well.
is worth, you have my prayers. I wish you luck in the battles to come.
For the prayers.
We made a promise, or Uther did. And instead of continuing to fight, instead of making allies with another nation, something that would have been incredibly useful, we spat on it. Traitors in the West. Whatever has happened had better have been important enough to warrant this.
You caught
We
that
looked
too.
like cowards.
You caught that too. The word about traitors. I haven't
did.
heard anything about that. What the hell are we doing?
Answering a muster of our liege lord and our king.
To invade Cornwall. Why? To what end? What does this gain anybody?
I'm sure Uther has... He wouldn't do this for no reason. I'm sure there has to be something.
I can't imagine a good enough reason. What is Gorlois guilty of? Is he guilty of not meeting Uther's demands of sending soldiers? So we're going to instead attack them.
It is not a matter of guilt, Sir Baron. It is...
Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Not right here, not right now. It's a matter for later. And indeed, when it is done. We can only hope that God will forgive us. As for what it will accomplish more realms under Uther's authority. Indeed, if not in name.
Uther's authority.
I do not like it, but he is our king.
Right.
We will do as commanded.
I mean, he wields the sword. The symbol that is of hope, of victory. There has to be a good reason. There has to.
But Perrin, even Merlin doubts at times. I saw it in his eyes the first time he brought the sword to Uther. But that is human.
Okay. All right. But there's not going to be turning back. You both understand that, right? If we head to Uther's camp, if we go back to Logris, there's not any more considering we'll be able to do.
If we turn back now, we're traitors. And our manors will be given to others. And our names will live on in scorn.
There is no other option. For the sake of the realm and for the sake of our families, our legacies, there is no refusing this muster.
You're right. Let's ride.
One land, one king.
Justice!
Show him the sword.
And if I surrender, what do I get?
You get, he is given, you must give too. The land from here to the Western Sea, that is what can be yours.
For the king, for Logris, I accept!
Prince Madoc thinks you worthy. The king trusts you. That is enough.
Does Merlin speak of us often?
Merlin speaks of you when he feels like it. That is to say, much like everything he does, when it's appropriate to him, and he feels it appropriate himself, then indeed, that seems the proper time for it to say. I don't really know Merlin. He is an enigma to me, in truth.
Can I tell you a secret?
Of course.
I suspect, and this is... it is speculation of mine. There's no hint of evidence in it beyond my own gut instincts. I suspect that Merlin didn't need the four of us to find the sword for him, nor to retrieve it. Frankly, I've wondered since the day we found the sword why he brought us with him in the first place. Perhaps it'll be an unknowable truth, or perhaps I've misjudged him, but I find that a curiosity that has yet to be satiated in my own mind.
I remember when Merlin brought Madoc in the first time. A boy with an intensity in his eyes. And the face of Uther. It was Uther who was prince, not king at the time, if you recall. Aurelius was our king. And yet, that very spring, we lost King Aurelius. It seemed well timed that Merlin would come upon Uther's bastard son, locate him for the king, and bring him to him, mere months before King Aurelius falls. I don't know what Merlin's goals are. They seem to be in benefit of the island, and so I do not inspect too far. But I think at the end of the day, we are all Merlin's pawns if we let him.
I think those are very wise words to say. I'll keep them in mind. Thank you.
It moves me what you all brought about in the name of Logris. It's for that reason that today I am feeling generous. Ask but one gift from me. A just gift. A true gift. And if you do so, and I deem it so, then it will be yours.
A just gift for the nobility of Logris has already been delivered. Peace. The defeat of our enemies. My lands are secure. My family is safe. Can any of us ask for anything more? King Uther.
I see now, friend, what my brother saw in you. It's a shame that it took so long.
If I were to ask for something, it would have to be something I believe I could be worthy of. That I had proved myself in my efforts to be worthy of. I ask you in a way that is humble, as I was the one who in a single blow managed to strike down King
Octa?
right? Yeah.
Yep.
King Octa. I would ask for a ransom worthy of his bounty.
I see. And that ransom to be paid in Librum.
If you would be as gracious to my king.
Consider it done.
My king, the commander of the battalion that we fought, that we defeated, and whose banner I presented you with, her name is Oslaf. When I was captive of the Saxons, it was hard, but she was merciful to me in moments that she didn't need to. She is a good woman, and I would ask not for her release as such, but that her life be spared, and, if possible, her freedom as well. I realize I beg for mercy for the enemy, but there is something about her.
She is important to the Saxons?
In truth, yes. The niece of King Eosa.
What you ask is to spare potential for a line of future royalty of future Saxons. Those that other Saxons will put their forces and weight and name behind. I said I would grant you a just ask. But returning her to her people...
If I may propose a compromise, sire? Perhaps not full release, but a release into custody. I'm sure Edric here can take responsibility for what happens regardless. It's possible that... Well, I wouldn't dream of speaking anything as silly as peace with Saxons, but if an enemy doubts that we are worth killing, it might make it easier for us in the long run. Don't you agree?
To what end, exactly?
I have met many in my travels. I feel I love her, Your Majesty. I realize that is not a very strategically viable announcement to make. But I care for her and do not want to see her dead.
Well, it shows that the rumors were at least partially true.
Partially. I am no traitor to Logris.
I see.
If Edric were to sire a child with the niece of Eosa, his child would have claimed Saxon lands, wouldn't they?
It seems to me the problem with the eastern side of this island is that there's too many damn Saxons. Begatting another one seems like a dire mistake. Why are we keeping any of these prisoners? I can give you some instruction on what we do with the Irish.
It'll be temporary. My advisors have suggested that for now, we use it until we deal with the other Saxon kings to our east.
I am, of course, always in favor of rewarding these 3 knights who seem to have done extra service for you, King. But I can only say that fewer Saxons works out better for those of us who live here.
True.
What I ask is extreme. If you do not deem me worthy of this boon, I can live with it.
I will grant you your initial wish, or the one that Sir Perrin here has suggested. For now, she is your responsibility until such a time as her trial is due. Before you look too happy about that, let me be clear. If she were to go missing, or anything else were to happen to her that makes me look bad, that will be on you.
I have acted as your representative before, King Uther. I did not fail you then. I will not fail you now. Upon my honor and my family's name, nothing ill shall occur if I can prevent it.
Then consider it granted. She will return with you to Salisbury when all this is through, as your captive.
Indeed.
I don't suppose a new sword arm is within your power. If it can be arranged, King Uther, I would like a place at your high table whenever you can arrange it.
In what capacity?
If we are feasting, it would please me greatly to be able to sit somewhere where the rest of the court could see me.
King Uther, would it not be well for those knights who have been injured in battle, as Sir Perrin has been, to see one of their number represented at the highest levels of your court? That you still take counsel directly from such men, that they are not lesser in stature in any way to their compatriots. Let him be a token of your respect for those who have served.
I agree with Duke Gorlois. He fought under me when he lost his hand, and it was against the Saxons in a brave and true fashion. Let him sit with us, Father, if you can. Very well. You will be my diplomat of the Knights of the Sword. You'll represent the 3 of you, and you will take orders where I need you to be.
You honor me greatly, my king. Thank you.
But this does not change your vassalage.
Of course.
You remain under your account.
Of course.
She's Beautiful, isn't she?
Hmm? Oh, which one, my liege? Which one, my liege?
I've heard of the Duchess's beauty, and in fact I've seen her in passing. But to see her before all the ladies, before the court.
She's a very fine woman. She's...
Fine hardly does it.
I suppose you're right. You know, sometimes I wonder how Florence can, I don't know, be the way he is about certain things, but every once in a while something comes along that makes me understand. Still, it's, still, it's nothing.
Our fate has brought us here. I was not intended to be king, and yet through my brother's death, I've found it. I am a warlord of Logres, the warlord of Logres. I was born a warlord. I was raised a warlord. And now I've become one.
Might I ask you a question freely? I don't think it'll offend, but it's always wise to double check.
Very well. What is it?
Why did you fight for this? If you didn't feel that you were meant to, if not fate was guiding you. You stand the strongest chance at uniting all of England that, well, anyone has. And yet you sound almost like you're burdened by that.
My brother, Aurelius, he was the talker, the diplomat, the sage. I was his sword arm. I'm the one that returned with the stones from Ireland. I'm the one who killed for this island. All threats. Any threat. I do this to continue my brother's name, our legacy. And for my son now. But mostly, I do it for glory.
For England. For glory. For one land and one king, right?
Yes. A high king.
I was hoping to depart tomorrow morning to speak with each of you and visit your manors on the way home, but it seems that such a trip will have to be delayed. I am called north, as you have heard.
Well, there'll always be another time, right? And if there isn't, then we'll meet again under God's grace.
Of course. We will meet again under God's grace.
I know it didn't turn out how you would have been hoping, and I felt that it was necessary to make sure you got something rather than nothing at all. That's all.
What I will get, I imagine, is a captive, and I cannot love a captive, and a captive cannot love me.
To be honest, I was wondering why you would even bother.
If
There are many rumors, disgusting and false in nature, but among one of them was that I found love when I was prisoner of the Saxon. This much is true. Oslaf took charge of my captivity, more or less, but we bonded.
And yet, you say that you cannot love a captive.
I feel
time-
it would be different if the shoe were on the other foot.
Possibly. But it was. Either way, I will say this much. You don't have much, Edric. I won't beat around the bush with that. But you have time. That's more than many can say. Do with it what you will. If it's nothing, then it's nothing, but I at least am grateful you have it. At all.
What you learn, what is announced at Christmas Court, is that the king has demanded that all his lords and dukes come and feast with him and their families, and after the feast, he demands that they remain for the winter in Londinium.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Duke Gorlois. Any word from back home?
There are plenty of letters arriving from back home, but my attentions are needed to prepare for campaigns against the Irish.
I was wondering about that myself. I imagine you must be getting nervous being away for so long.
Yes, I am indeed getting nervous. Something
do
to
not
say,
quite
have you, Sir
understand.
Perrin?
I do not quite understand the reasoning behind our needing to, let's say, muster in an extended manner. From what
You
I've
know
observed,
what the reason is, Sir Edric. When we first met, I warned you. I have told you many times. It is not all the Knights of Logres he keeps here. That is a cover.
it is all the knights from his recently, what's the word? Recently pledged provinces, dukedoms, counties. That is who best to keep an eye on. That is what he is doing every feast, of which we are having quite a great deal.
He is not keeping an eye on dukes and dukedoms and newly pledged kingdoms, Edric.
Then what is he watching?
The answer is in front of you, but you do not have the wit to see it. I have warned you so many times about the true nature of Uther. There is only one thing that he desires. All of this is but one design to cover for his misappropriations and sins. Speak now, Sir Perrin. What do you hold back?
It just seems as if he should be rewarding your willingness to depart your lands, and all of them. You gave, so he's supposed to give back, and he hasn't yet. That does not sit right with me. That's all.
You've been paying attention to what I've been saying. The flow of loyalty goes in both directions. It is a chain which binds us from our families all the way up to God.
I understand this.
You've done well, son. We have made oaths, and they must be followed, even those made under magical duress. All things have been set in motion as if by clockwork, and there is no avoiding the collision that is coming. There is no gathering storm.
Everyone, mount up. The king has declared. We are to return Duke Gorlois and the others, his entourage, back before the king. They escaped against the king's will, and it is a mark against his hospitality. We are to ride out, subdue them through action or words, whatever is necessary, and bring them back to the king.
Right, let's go. Someone send for Edric, make sure he's up.
We'll attempt to ride ahead, by your command. We'll attempt to ride ahead, by your command.
He nods.
The Baron?
Right.
The dogs have picked up on the scent. Have you been able to get ahead of them, or are we hot on their trail?
He did something to stop us from tracking him. It's hard to explain. It's as if their marks in the mud were simply pointing us in random directions.
Something about this doesn't feel right. There's intention here more than just getting away.
Whatever's going on, I don't think we're going to find him. The hounds may have luck, but it is equally possible they may be confounded as well.
One way or the other, I apologize for my lateness, you two. If we can confer later, that would be good. But as it is, we know, quite likely, where the Duke is going.
Indeed. Perhaps we should split up, in case there is any deviations. The three of you familiar with the Salisbury and Silchester areas, yes?
Aye, deeply.
Indeed.
We will leave you with our royal dogs and their keeper, our huntsman. We will take the lands to the north, should they deviate.
Aye. This seems like the most prudent course of action. Edric, you up for a ride?
I am, yes.
My lord, we'll be crossing into Summerlin soon.
Magic. Or that it was not that we required it.
Well, it seems the lady knew what Uther was to do.
Will you stand with me, Brastius, at the end of things here?
Until our very end, my lord.
Then let it be such an end.